Have you ever heard of a king who never lost a single battle? A man who, by the age of 30, had conquered nearly the entire known world. His name became a legend, Alexander the Great, the man who changed the course of history forever. Our story begins in 356 BC in the ancient city of Pella, Macedonia. A child was born who would one day unite Greece, crush the mighty Persian Empire, and march his armies to the very edge of the world. His name was Alexander III of Macedon, son of the powerful King Philip II and the ambitious Queen Olympias. Few could have guessed that this boy would become the most brilliant military commander in history. Alexander grew up in a world forged by ambition and war. His father, Philip II, was a master strategist who had transformed Macedonia from a backwater kingdom into a military superpower. He introduced the revolutionary phalanx, a fearsome formation of spearmen that dominated the battlefield. But Philip knew that a king needed more than just military might. He needed a sharp mind. So, at age 13, Alexander was sent to study under the greatest philosopher of the age, Aristotle. Aristotle taught him everything from philosophy and science to medicine, but most importantly, he instilled in Alexander the idea that Greek culture was destined to rule over the so-called barbarians. The young prince was a natural. At just 16, while his father was away, Alexander served as regent and single-handedly crushed a rebellion in Thrace. 2 years later, at the pivotal Battle of Chaeronea, the 18-year-old commanded the cavalry. His decisive charge shattered the Greek forces, securing his father's victory and control over the Greek city-states. By the time King Philip was assassinated in 336 BC, Alexander was more than ready. At the age of 20, he ascended the throne, ready to lead, ready to conquer, ready to fulfill his destiny. The moment he became king, his empire was tested. Thinking him young and inexperienced, the Greek cities of Thebes and Athens rose in rebellion. Alexander's response was swift and terrifying. He marched his army 300 miles in just 2 weeks and descended upon Thebes. The city was razed to the ground, 6,000 of its people were killed, and the rest sold into slavery. The message was brutal, but clear. No one defied Alexander. With Greece now firmly under his control, he turned his gaze east toward the colossal Persian Empire. Led by King Darius III, Persia was the largest empire the world had ever seen, stretching from Asia Minor all the way to India. In 334 BC, Alexander's invasion of Asia began, a campaign that would rewrite history. He crossed the Hellespont with a mere 40,000 troops, a tiny force compared to the millions Persia could command. His first major test came at the Granicus River. Faced with overwhelming odds, Alexander did the unthinkable. He didn't wait. He didn't strategize from the rear. He charged directly into the heart of the Persian line, his legendary horse Bucephalus leading the way. The victory was swift, absolute, and shocking. The whole of Asia Minor fell to him like a domino. A year later, at the Battle of Issus, Alexander faced Darius himself. The Persian king had assembled a massive army, perhaps 100,000 strong, but Alexander was a tactical genius. He lured the Persian army into a narrow plain, completely neutralizing their numerical advantage. The battle was a masterclass in strategy. When it was over, Darius fled in terror, abandoning his own family and his royal treasure to the Macedonians. For the first time, the seemingly invincible Persian Empire began to tremble. After his victory at Issus, Alexander marched south along the coast. He laid siege to the impenetrable island fortress of Tyre, a feat many thought impossible. For 7 long months, his engineers built a massive causeway to the city under constant attack. His eventual victory was one of the most daring siege operations in history. From there, he marched into Egypt in 332 BC, where he was not seen as a conqueror, but as a liberator, even hailed as a pharaoh. It was here, at the mouth of the Nile, that he founded a city that would carry his name and become a global center of knowledge for centuries: Alexandria. But the war for Persia wasn't over. In 331 BC, at the Battle of Gaugamela, Alexander faced Darius for the final time. The Persians brought everything they had: scythed chariots, war elephants, and an army of hundreds of thousands. It was a terrifying spectacle. Yet Alexander's army moved with flawless precision. His phalanx held the line like an iron wall, while his elite cavalry smashed through the Persian center, aiming directly for Darius. Once again, the Persian king fled. This time, his empire collapsed completely. By 330 BC, Alexander was the undisputed master of Persia, his dominion stretching from the Mediterranean Sea to the mountains of modern-day Afghanistan. But for a man like Alexander, conquering the world's greatest empire wasn't enough. He wanted more. He pushed his army ever eastward, into the rugged lands of Bactria and Sogdia, and finally, into the mysterious subcontinent of India. In 326 BC, at the Battle of the Hydaspes River, he faced his most formidable opponent yet, King Porus, and his army of war elephants. The battle was ferocious, fought in a torrential downpour, turning the ground into a bloody swamp. Alexander's tactical brilliance won him the day, but it came at a terrible cost. His soldiers, who had followed him for over a decade across thousands of miles, were exhausted. They were weary of constant battle and longed for home. At the banks of the Hyphasis River, they finally refused to go any further. They had reached what they believed was the edge of the world. Legend says Alexander went to his tent and wept, not in defeat, but because there were no more worlds left to conquer. He turned his army back toward Babylon, a returning hero, but not yet the immortal legend he would become. In 323 BC, Alexander was back in Babylon, the new capital of his vast empire. He was already planning new campaigns, new adventures, perhaps to Arabia, or even to the burgeoning city of Rome. But destiny had other plans. After a night of feasting and celebration, Alexander was struck by a sudden raging fever. Whether it was malaria, typhoid, or poison, we'll never know for sure. On June 10, 323 BC, at just 32 years old, the greatest general in history was dead. He left no clear heir, no chosen successor. On his deathbed, when asked who his empire should go to, he supposedly whispered, "To the strongest." Within years, his massive empire fractured, carved up by his own generals, the Diadochi, who warred with each other for decades, and yet his legacy is immortal. Alexander didn't just conquer lands, he spread Greek culture, language, and ideas across 3 continents, kickstarting the Hellenistic Age. Cities bearing his name sprung up from Egypt to India. His campaigns reshaped global trade, art, and philosophy, forever changing the map of civilization. He lived for only 32 years. He fought in over 20 major battles and never lost a single one. He united East and West under a single grand vision. His empire may have crumbled, but his legend never died. More than 2,000 years later, one truth remains. Alexander wasn't just a conqueror, he was the blueprint for greatness itself. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as incredible as we do, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into history. See you next time.